I sent screenshots of my wife talking about how pathetic I looked hooked up to hospital monitors to her entire family group chat. Like, all 23 people. Her parents, her siblings, her aunts and uncles, even her grandmother who barely knows how to use her phone. And honestly, I'm not even sorry about it. Okay, so I need to back up because this whole thing is insane, and I still can't really believe it happened to me. I'm 34. My wife Melanie is 33, or was I guess? We've been married for almost 7 years. Met at a friend's barbecue when I was 27, and she was finishing up her undergrad. She was working retail at the time and hated it. Wanted to get into marketing or communications or something. We hit it off immediately. She was funny and ambitious, and I don't know, I just felt like I'd met my person, you know? We got married about 1.5 years after we started dating. Everyone said it was too fast, but we were so sure. And for a while it really was good, like genuinely good. She started her career stuff. I was working in logistics management, making decent money. We bought a little house in the suburbs about 4 years ago. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. Well, mostly mine on the mortgage, but whatever, we were a team. Here's the thing though, and I hate that this matters, but it does. I basically funded her whole career transition. She went back to school for a marketing certificate program, I paid for that. Then she needed a better laptop, I got her that. Then she wanted to do this 6-month intensive program that cost like $15,000. And I took out a personal loan for it because she said it would really set her up for success. I'm not trying to sound like some martyr here. I wanted to support her dreams or whatever, but it meant we had debt. It meant I was working extra hours. It meant putting off having kids even though we'd always talked about starting a family around now. About 8 months ago, Melanie got promoted at her company. Finally. She was so excited and I was proud of her, genuinely. She'd been working under this guy Jackson for like 2 years. And apparently he really vouched for her. She started making better money, which was great because we needed it. The debt from her programs plus the mortgage plus just life, it was tight. But things were looking up. Then in January I had to have surgery. I had this hernia thing that kept getting worse, and my doctor said we couldn't put it off anymore. It wasn't like emergency life or death, but it was painful and getting worse, and I needed to get it fixed. The surgery was scheduled for January 22nd. Outpatient procedure. Supposed to be home same day, couple weeks recovery. Except I had complications. I don't even want to get into all the medical details, but basically I ended up staying in the hospital for 4 days instead of going home that afternoon. Something about bleeding they needed to monitor, some issue with the anesthesia. I was a mess, and the recovery was way harder than they said it would be. I was basically bedridden for like 10 days, then on restricted activity for another month. Couldn't lift anything, couldn't drive, could barely walk to the bathroom without feeling like my guts were tearing apart. Melanie visited me in the hospital, but she seemed weird about it, like distracted. I figured she was just stressed because she had to handle everything at home, plus her job, plus worry about me. She kept saying how swamped she was at work, how Jackson was giving her these big new responsibilities with the promotion, how she couldn't take time off right then. I felt bad, honestly, like I was being a burden. When I finally got home, she helped me get settled, but then she was just gone all the time. Working late, she said. Big project. Jackson needed her on this campaign pitch or something. I'd be lying there on the couch, still on pain meds, barely able to get up to pee, and she'd text me that she was grabbing dinner with the team and wouldn't be back till like 10. I remember one night, maybe 5 days after I got home, I asked if she could help me change the dressing on my incision because I couldn't reach it properly and it was starting to hurt. She got so annoyed. She was like, "I'm exhausted, Dean. Can't you figure it out? I have a huge presentation tomorrow." I ended up doing it myself in the bathroom mirror and probably did it wrong because it got infected, and I had to go back to the doctor. My mum came and stayed for a week to help, which honestly was a lifesaver. Melanie seemed almost relieved, like now she had even more freedom to work late. Mum didn't say anything, but I could tell she thought it was weird how absent Melanie was. Anyway, I started healing, started getting back to somewhat normal around mid-March. The whole time Melanie just seemed checked out. We barely talked. She was always on her phone, always tired, always with work stuff. I tried to bring it up a couple times and she'd get defensive, say I was being needy, say I didn't understand the pressure she was under now that she had actual responsibility at work. Here's where it gets crazy. It was maybe 3 weeks ago, early April. I was looking for our tax stuff because I needed to file, and I knew Melanie had some documents I needed. She keeps a lot of her paperwork in this filing cabinet, in the spare room we use as an office. I'm digging through folders looking for her W-2 or whatever, and I find this envelope. Not in a folder, just loose in the drawer. It's from a property management company. I open it because I'm confused, like why would we be getting stuff from a property management place? It's a lease agreement for an apartment across town, 1 bedroom. Lease starts May 1st. First and last month paid already, and it's just Melanie's name on it. Not mine, just hers. I literally stood there for like 5 minutes trying to make it make sense in my head. Maybe it's for someone at work. Maybe she's helping someone find a place. But no, her signature is on it. Dated February 18th, while I was in the hospital. Then I hear her coming down the hall and I literally just started shoving papers everywhere like an idiot. I don't even know what went where. I was panicking. I know this was so wrong, but I just shoved everything back and got out of there. I didn't say anything that night. I couldn't. I needed to think. I needed to figure out what this meant. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe she was planning a surprise or helping a friend or, I don't know, literally anything other than what it obviously was. The next day while she was at work, I went back to that filing cabinet. I looked through everything more carefully this time. That's when I found the bank statements. She has a separate bank account, opened last June, so like 10 months ago. She's been transferring money into it every month. Not huge amounts like 300 or 400 here and there, but it adds up. By February, the account had almost $8,000 in it. Our joint account that we use for bills and mortgage and everything was always tight. And meanwhile, she's been siphoning money into this secret account. There were other things too. Printouts of job listings in other cities. Nothing local. Like she was looking at positions in Charlotte, Atlanta, even Denver. All marketing director level stuff. Higher than what she's doing now. Why would she be looking at jobs in other cities? I went through her car when she was showering that night. Found a burner phone in the glove compartment under the manual. One of those cheap prepaid things. I didn't even know people actually did that outside of movies. I turned it on, and my hands were shaking so bad I could barely navigate it. The messages on that phone were mostly between her and Jackson. And oh my God, they'd been sleeping together since at least November, maybe longer. The texts went back to October, but they were vague at first. Could have been just friendly. But by November it was obvious. Making plans to meet at hotels. Talking about when they could get away. And the stuff they said about me made me feel physically sick. There was a message from January 23rd, the day after my surgery. I was literally still in the hospital. Jackson asked how I was doing, and Melanie said something like, "Honestly, it's such a relief to have a break from him. He's been so needy about this whole surgery thing." Jackson made some joke about me being dramatic, and she laughed, said she couldn't wait until she didn't have to deal with my whining anymore. Another one from early February. I must have still been recovering, barely walking. Jackson said something about missing her, and she said she missed him too, that she was counting down the days until she could leave, that she just had to play the supportive wife for a little longer and then she'd be free. There were messages about the apartment, about how she was going to break the news to me in April, after she secured a new position somewhere, how she was going to frame it as needing space to focus on her career, how Jackson was going to try to get a position in whatever city she landed in so they could be together. They talked about me like I was this pathetic obstacle. She sent him a photo of me asleep on the couch during recovery, still in my hospital gown thing because regular clothes hurt too much, drool on my face, and the caption was something like, "Look at this mess I have to come home to." He responded with a laughing emoji and said she deserved so much better. I took pictures of everything on that phone with my phone, every message I could find, every photo. Then I put it back exactly where I found it. I spent the next 2 weeks just watching her. She had no idea I knew anything. She kept up the act of being my wife, of being busy with work, of being tired and stressed. Meanwhile, I'm watching her text on that burner phone when she thinks I'm not looking. Watching her make excuses to go out. Watching her lie right to my face. I logged into our joint bank account and moved half of everything into my own personal account. Not to screw her over, just to protect myself. I contacted a divorce lawyer just to get advice on what I needed to do to protect my assets, especially the house since I'd put down the down payment and made most of the mortgage payments. I gathered every piece of documentation I could find about the money I'd spent on her education and programs, and then I found more messages about her family. See, Melanie's family loves me. Or they did. Her parents have always been great to me. Her sister Kelly lives a couple hours away and we've always gotten along. Sunday dinners at her parents' house were a regular thing. They're a close family, one of those big group chats where everyone shares memes and plans stuff together. In the messages on the burner phone, Melanie told Jackson she was worried about how her family would react when she left me. She said they'd probably take my side because I'd been such a good husband on paper. She talked about how she needed to start planting seeds, making me look bad. So when she finally left, it wouldn't be such a shock. And she did. I started noticing it after I found those messages. She'd make little comments to her mum when we'd video chat, like, "Oh, Dean's been so grumpy lately," or "Dean's been so focused on himself since the surgery." Little digs, setting up the narrative. Her sister Kelly called me 2 weeks ago just to check in and mentioned that Melanie had told her I was being really demanding during my recovery, that I expected Melanie to wait on me hand and foot, which is insane because I could barely get her to help me with anything. So I decided I'd had enough. Last Sunday was her mum's birthday. Big family dinner at her parents' house. We were both supposed to go. Melanie was actually being nice to me that week, probably because she needed me to play along for her family. I told her the morning of that I wasn't feeling great, that my incision site was bothering me. She barely looked up from her phone and said that was fine, she'd go without me, tell everyone I wasn't feeling well. Perfect. As soon as she left, I opened up that family group chat on my phone, the one with all 23 members of her family. Her parents, Rebecca and Tom, her sister Kelly and her husband, her brother and his wife, her aunts, uncles, cousins, her grandmother who's like 81 and barely knows how to use her smartphone but stays in the chat because she likes seeing family photos, and I posted the screenshots. Not all of them. That would have been too much. But I picked the ones that told the story, the messages about the apartment, the messages about leaving me, the messages from when I was in the hospital, the photo she sent of me sleeping in my hospital gown with the caption mocking me, messages where she and Jackson talked about her family and how to manipulate what they'd think. I didn't write anything. I just posted them in sequence and then turned off my phone. I don't know exactly what happened in that first hour because I wasn't watching. Melanie told me later she was sitting at her parents' table when her phone started going crazy. Everyone's phone started going crazy. Her mum apparently went white and just stared at her phone. Her dad asked what was wrong, and her mum just handed it to him. Melanie said she tried to grab her mum's phone to see what was happening, and that's when Kelly showed her. Just showed her the group chat. She called me like 30 times in a row. I didn't answer. She texted from both phones, her regular one and the burner. She came home and I'd locked myself in our bedroom. She banged on the door, screaming at me, asking how I could do this, how I could humiliate her like this in front of her whole family. The audacity was unreal. Her sister Kelly called me that night. She was crying. She said she couldn't believe it, that she'd known Melanie her whole life and never thought she was capable of something like this. She apologized for not seeing her. It's sooner for not questioning Melanie's version of things about me being difficult. Her mum called the next day. She was so angry, but not at me. At Melanie. She asked me if everything in those messages was real, and I said yes. All of it. She said she was so sorry, that she was ashamed of her daughter, that if I needed anything to let her know. Even her grandmother apparently said something in the group chat about being disappointed, which for a woman who barely texts is huge. Melanie completely fell apart. She stayed with a friend that first night because I wouldn't let her back in the bedroom. The next few days she was a wreck, crying constantly. Her family wasn't answering her calls. Her mum told her not to come by the house because her dad was too angry to see her right now. She tried to explain it all away, said the messages looked worse than they were, that she and Jackson were just friends who got too close, that the apartment was never about leaving me, it was just about having her own space. All lies, and we both knew it. Work found out somehow too. I don't know if someone from her family contacted them, or if word just spread, but apparently Jackson got pulled into HR. I guess having an affair with your direct report while you're both at company events is frowned upon or something. Melanie said they're both under investigation. The lease on that apartment? She tried to break it, but she's locked in. She's going to lose the deposit and still owes for the remaining months. That secret bank account? I told my lawyer about it, and apparently that's going to look real bad for her in divorce proceedings, especially since I can prove the money came from our joint account where I was depositing my paychecks. She moved out about a week ago. Went to stay with a friend from college who doesn't know her family and I guess doesn't know the whole story. She took her stuff and left. The house is mine for now. My lawyer says we have a strong case for me, keeping it given the down payment and mortgage situation. I'm not going to lie. Some part of me feels bad. Like I destroyed her life. Her family barely talks to her. Her career is in jeopardy. She's lost her marriage, her home, her support system. All because I posted those screenshots. But then I remember what she did. I remember lying in a hospital bed in pain while she was texting her affair partner about how needy I was. I remember struggling to change my own bandages because she couldn't be bothered to help. I remember her systematically planning to leave me while pretending everything was fine, while still taking money from our joint account, while sleeping in our bed. So no, actually I don't feel that bad. Here's an update since you guys were asking. It's been about a month now. The divorce is moving forward. Melanie tried to fight for half the house, but my lawyer shut that down pretty quick with all the documentation I had. She's still in that apartment she leased, stuck paying for it, even though she never wanted to actually live there alone, if that makes sense. I think the plan was always for Jackson to be there with her. Speaking of Jackson, he apparently got demoted. Not fired, but moved to a different team, lost his direct reports including Melanie. The company didn't want the liability, I guess. Melanie's still there, but it's awkward from what I hear through mutual friends. People know. Her family has started talking to her again, but it's not the same. Her mum called me last week actually just to check in on me. Said Melanie is seeing a counsellor or something, trying to work through why she did what she did. I didn't ask for details. Kelly, her sister, still texts me sometimes. We're not best friends or anything, but she's been supportive. Said she feels like she lost her idea of who her sister was. The weird thing is, Melanie tried to reach out 2 weeks ago. Long email about how she's sorry, how she realises she messed up, how the affair was a mistake but leaving the way she planned was worse. She said she wants to try to explain things if I'd be willing to listen. I deleted it. I'm doing okay, I think. The house feels empty but also peaceful. My surgery stuff has healed up fine, no issues. Started going to the gym again. I'm just trying to figure out who I am without her, without that whole life we built, or that I thought we built. Some people have asked if I regret the group chat thing. Honestly, no. She was already planning to paint me as the bad guy to her family. I just showed them the truth before she could control the narrative. Maybe it was cruel, but I don't know. I think she earned it.